Hi, this is Chaplain Tyler, and today we're going to be talking about values. Values. So, why talk about values? Well, because values are the things that really determine our sense of reality. They determine our sense of others. They determine our sense of ourselves. They basically form our identity. And they also form what we believe to be right and wrong. Our sense of ethics, morals, come from values. So that's why we're going to talk about them. Values can be used in two different ways. The word value can be used as either a verb or a noun. Now, when used as a verb, it says, I value something. I value my eyesight. I value my hearing. I value this apartment. I value the place I live in. I value my clothing. I value something. Now that's saying that I ascribe importance or worth to it. Importance or worth. So in that sense, that really can be almost anything. I have a wall behind me of cookbooks. I love to cook. So I value these books. I value cooking. I value good food. That's a verb. Now, I want to talk about values in terms of noun. It's hard to find a really good definition, although most of us would say that we understand them, but how do we really define it? So I looked it up, and the Oxford Dictionary, the definition is a person's principles or standards of behavior. That's part one. Part two, one's judgment of what is important in life. One's judgment of what is important in life. That's pretty good. I don't mind that. The problem I have with that particular definition is that I find it very broad. Almost anything can be a value. What is important in life? I could say anything. I don't like that. I want to get down to more deeper levels of what is the core values that determine who we are as people. I'm going to give you a different definition, and it's a definition that I heard recently that I really like. That a value is a non-physical principle or idea you are willing to experience pain for. A non-physical principle or idea that you are willing to experience pain for. When we think about it like that, that narrows the playing field down quite a bit. There's a lot of things that I value, but there's not very many things that I am willing to experience pain for. And that tells me a lot more what my core values. Now, where do our values come from? And how do we determine them? Values are formed out of our belief systems. Our beliefs are tied together from many different places and levels. There are what I call macro values. Macro values from multiple people that we're a part of, that influence us. There are cultural values. There are religious values, national values. You can have two countries that speak the same language that have very different value systems, and that's probably one of the things that separates them. You can have regional values. You can have places in specific countries that have different values. One region over here has a different set of values than another region over here. And that's what separates them. You can have organizational values, organizations that you are part of. And another one is communal values. Any community that you're with has a set of values. Those are the big macro ones. The micro ones, they're a lot easier to look at. Familial values, or from our families, and our own individually held personal values. Those are micro values because they're not held by multiple groups of people at the same time. They all interconnect. They all influence one another and are influenced by one another. Now, is it possible to be deluded about your value system? Yes, it is. If you do not have a really good idea of your own identity, and even if you think you have a great idea of your own identity, you can still not be correct. And I've seen this on two really startling occasions. One of them, which I'll tell you about, was myself. I thought that I held very specific values for many, many years. And I wrestled with them, and I'm somebody that looks at my identity, and I search out principles, and I search out what is meaningful to me. But it wasn't until just a few years ago that I came to realize that the family values were that I grew up in they influenced me in a different way. They did not allow me to be and to believe that I was a certain way, that I held a certain set of values. They were different. And because the family values were reinforced and not my personal values, it took a long, long time for me to figure out that my personal values were different than my familial values. So is it possible to be mistaken? Deluded is a hard word. Is it possible to be mistaken about your personal values? Yes. Now, how do you determine your personal values? Well, there's two ways. One is look at your behaviors. Look at what it is that you do. Look at what you spend your time on and what you're willing to experience pain for. Do that. Examine that. And have others help you look at that. When you really take the time to look at it, you'll determine your values a little bit easier. The second way to determine your core values is to play the why game. Now, I don't know how many of you have met a child who always said, why? 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 It drove us crazy. I was one of those kids. I always wanted to know why something was happening. Why? And that's the game you play. And you basically want to go, the rule of thumb is that you take an action, you take a behavior, and you break it down in terms of motive, why you did that action or why you do that action. You break it down to about 6 or 7 layers. And I'll give you an example. I go exercise. Okay, so first question, why? First layer is I exercise. Why do I exercise? Because I want to be healthy. Okay, why do I want to be healthy? Layer 2. Layer 3. Well, I don't want to be overweight and sick. Okay, because I don't want to not be able to do what I want to do. I want to have capacity. Next layer. Why do I want to have capacity? Because I value and I want to have choice. Okay. Why do because I want freedom. I want the freedom to be able to do what I want, when I want, how I want. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Freedom is one of those core values. I could go one more layer and I could say something like, why do I want to have freedom? Well, because I want to be able to have control over what I do. And I haven't yet been able to articulate that value and define it really well. Maybe it's self-reliance, or maybe I want to be competent, or I want to be able to have skill. I don't know. I haven't determined that one, but there's probably one more layer at least underneath there that I need to get to. So that's how you determine your core values. And it is a wonderful exercise and a needed one in order to be able to determine and learn who you are a little bit more, and learn. And you can do this with others too. Play the game. Play it with your friends. It has to be a trusted friend. Play it with your significant other. And it will reveal things that you never really understood and thought. And it's a deep exercise. It will develop and help your intimacy, and it will definitely give you more insight into who you and other people. Over the next few videos that I'll release, I'm going to be talking about different types of core values. And those are going to be basically basic types of personalities, different core personality types. And the reason I want to talk about that is because when we understand the different kinds of core personalities out there, and I'm gonna be using basically 4 different types of personalities that I find to work really well for understanding. But the reason I want to do that is because I have seen so many conflicts and so many problems with communication because we don't understand each other's values. We don't understand how to approach somebody with a different set of values than we have. And it doesn't mean they're worse. That's one of the things that happens so quickly, is that when we come to somebody and we realize unconsciously that they have a different set of values than we do, it's very, very easy to say, gee, they're worse than we are. I'm better than that. My values are better than that. Well, that judgmentalism means that we've now put ourselves in a perspective of pride and arrogance and superiority. And that means that we're not going to listen and respect them. And that's a problem. Core values can change over time. I have seen that with married couples and where their significant other drifts away in one different area because what they thought they had in common, they don't anymore. And I mean, look at the dating profiles, the dating apps and the dating services. They're all about trying to find compatibility based on values. And long-term compatibility is based on values. So that's why I'm going to talk about them, because if we can understand the 4 basic kinds of personalities out there, we're going to really be able to help and communicate better. And even more than that, we're going to be able to comprehend them and have empathy for them, and it'll get rid of that judgmentalism that we all seem to have. That's what we're going to do. So thank you for stopping by. And you can watch this video, or you have been watching this video on You Got This with Tyler, both on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and soon to be LinkedIn and TikTok. Have a great day, and we will catch you with the first in the series of videos on personality and the 4 different personality types based on values. Pretty darn quick. All right, you take care. Blessings. Bye.